Just a moment. All right. Looks like it's 6:30. Hello. All right. Can people hear me? I think I just was on mute. Unmute. Let's yeah, I'm back. All right. My name's Matt, and I'm part of a collective of individuals from a range of organisations that's come together to support the tour to Carmichael, and we're putting on the webinar for you tonight. It's a great pleasure to be with you all. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which I'm calling in from this evening. I'm on the stolen land of the Kumba people, the Yugambeh speaking people, and the people of the Bundjalung Nation. And I pay my respects to elders past and present. And I also want to acknowledge all First Nations people who are on the call tonight. This is and forever will be Aboriginal land. As I said, my name's Matt. I'm going to be MC tonight. It's really great to be here. The purpose of tonight is we're going to be talking all about an exciting opportunity to be part of the Tour de Carmichael Cycle for Country. It's a chance to learn about Wangan and Jagalingou culture and expose Adani's destruction on country and biodiversity on the mine site. Before I run through the agenda properly, I just wanted to kind of touch on a couple of housekeeping things. We just ask you all to stay on mute, and it'd be really great if you could all turn on your camera if you feel comfortable with that, so we can see your wonderful smiling faces. And it would also be great to, as we're going through tonight, to use the chat feature, ask questions, maybe, introduce yourselves in a moment. And really make this night interactive. Just for your information, you might have noticed as you got on the call, we're recording tonight. So we can email people who signed up who couldn't make it and give them the recording so they can stay up to date and get involved as well. So it'd be great to get a sense of who's in the room and who's here with us tonight. Could I ask you all just to write your name, what Aboriginal country you're dialing in from, and if you're involved in like a local group, in the chat box so we can kind of see who's here. So if you wanted to spend some time just throwing your name in there, introducing yourself and where you're from, that would be great. And whilst you do that, I'm going to go through our agenda. So tonight, we're going to first up get pumped up on a short video of the tour from last year. So you can kind of get a sense of what's it look like, what's it feel like, what do you expect? Then we'll hear from the man himself, Wangan and Jagalingou cultural custodian Cody McAvoy, to share with us what the tour is about and why it's important to be part of it. We'll have a chance to ask Cody some questions, and then we'll get a quick testimony from Fahima, who's been up to Watanunga recently, and hear from her about what her experience was like. We'll run through the logistics with you about like what to expect a little bit more in more detail, and we'll have a quick Q&A session. And then we'll wrap it up with some time to sign up and learn how you can help if you can't actually make it along. So we'll be emailing you all the links for the webinar, from the webinar tonight, and we'll do our best to answer all the questions you have. We know there's probably going to be a lot. There are some frequently asked questions on the website. You can check them out as well, but we'll try and make this as informative and as interactive as possible. So I can see there's plenty of awesome people coming through on the chat. So many, so I can't actually name everyone, but big shout out to Dean Paul on coming. Oh, it's straight away. There's more people coming in, but I'm going to go back to you, Dean Paul, on Gambang Year Country. I believe that's great. We've got Paxi coming in from Bundjalung Country. It's the same country I'm on. Vivian here from Gadigal land. That's great. So I can see lots and lots of you jumping in the chat. So many of you. That's fantastic. So I'm now going to hand over to Misha, who's going to actually share this short video just to whet our appetites and get a sense of what it's like to be on country. So hopefully we can share that video for you now. This is hot off the press and it hasn't been shared on socials yet. So this is a world premiere. So, get excited, folks. Give us a few spirit fingers and I'll get you to share that video now. Make sure if you can.
Welcome to Tour de Carmichael. And these are the bikes. What a mully! My name's Kudi. I'm a traditional owner of the Wangan and Jagalingou people from central Queensland.
Cody is the up-and-coming leader amongst our people and the extended family as well. He'll be teaching you about various things and aspects of our country and what it means to us.
The tour is mainly to highlight the destruction that Adani is doing alongside highlighting Wangan and Jagalingou culture to reinforce to the mining companies and to the government that we're still here and we're still practicing our culture. If you look at this on the maps, you can see that it looks like a right footprint that's just gone down like that. This has been my home for many, many months. I hope you guys feel at home as well.
Cody is doing a fantastic job, teaching me some language, talking about his tribe, talking about his culture.
We're on the Jagalingou River right now. This is the boundary in between Wangan and Jagalingou country. We're currently on the Jagalingou side. This is all on Jagalingou country all the way down to Alpha from here. So it goes from there and it's supposed to go out to the end of the Great Dividing Range where the watershed is.
It's a great opportunity for people to come together and learn more about the impact of the mine. To come out here and actually see it will be a wake-up call for everybody, and I think they'll go back and feel more committed.
So Adani will be building 2 massive dams. These dams will hold the water that they bring in from the Sutter River, and then after a while of them washing the coal, the silt and the chemicals that come off the coal will end up sitting on the bottom of the dam, and what happens is they wait until a flood season comes and then they apply to the government for a permit to pollute, and which pretty much gives them the green light to open up their floodgates. When it floods, wash all the silt out of their dams down into the rivers and out to the Great Barrier Reef. Dungabulla translates to many waters, and it's called many waters because there's many little mound springs that pop up all around that area, even into the area where the pit is being built right now. The Dungabulla Springs, the main spring, is the final resting place of the rainbow serpent. In our religion, if you disturb Munagada's resting place, he'll come and bring great natural disasters like floods and landslides. We're here to try and protect people from that happening. This isn't, the be-all and end-all. It's just the beginning.
Epic. What a video. I hope you're feeling some goosebumps like I am. That was amazing to kind of get that piece right off the press. And yeah, it's a real privilege to see it and to get that sense. So it's now my great pleasure to introduce star of the evening, the man himself, Mr. Cody McAvoy, Wangan and Jagalingou cultural custodian and your guide for the tour to Carmichael. So over to you, Cody.
Watamuli, everyone. I'm standing at the quarry site, just probably 10 k's, 15 k's away from the front gate. The internet's been pretty dodgy for the last 2 weeks. I've got to try and fix it before the tour happens. But this will be one of the places that we stop off at our first kind of like little break or something, because we've got a little bit of internet, so we'll be able to upload some photos and some videos and stuff like that. But it's day 229 here at Wangan. I've been here and slept at Wangan every night for 229 days. And I love it. I love this place. And the more that I'm here, the more I become attached to it. And the more I feel like I need to do something about it. So we originally did the tour last year to pretty much just, stir the pot really, because, Adani's got to pay for these roads to get fixed. And the farmers were complaining that the roads weren't getting fixed. So I thought, why not create a little tour? So we come up with the idea of Tour de Carmichael. It's literally just a rip-off of Tour de France, but better because it's out here, I guess. But we did it with the assumption that we're going to do it, and we're going to do it anyway. The police tried to call me last year and said, "Oh, are you going to get a permit?" I said, "No, I'm not going to get a permit because I'm not going to be subject to your laws on this matter. This is a cultural tour." So they were fine with that last year, and they haven't even asked this year. So last year we had police escorts on motorbikes next to us. We had police cars out the front, police cars out the back, and they stopped the traffic for us when we were driving past. So it was basically just a finger in the face to Adani and to the government that, we're going to ride our bikes down to the footprint. So the footprint is, you've seen on the video there, and it looks like a footprint. And it's the last remaining old growth trees in around the area, and there's some old big scar trees in there. There's a lot of birthing trees in there, and there's also a burial tree there. So it's a very special place. And if you come on the tour, if you've been to the tour last year, you've seen it. But if you come on the tour this year, I'll do a little bit more explanation about different scars and what they represent. And we'll have a few examples of different scars, such as like resource scars, Coolamun scars, directional trees. There's all different types that you'll get to learn on the tour. So I've been in contact with the police. Everything is all good there. This is a fun, friendly, family, safe event. You don't have to feel like this is not a protest, ladies and gentlemen. This is a cultural tour. It's a cultural tour that is something different because we are describing our country to you. So when we're taking you through our country, we're naming the mountains and we're telling you the stories of the mountains and the rivers. This is what gives us our identity as Wangan and Jagalingou people. So if you come on the tour, you're going to see firsthand of the cultural knowledge of the area, and have a little bit more of an understanding on our position on the way that we see this mine and what we plan for the future and how we plan on continuing to fight against this mine. So where I am at the moment, I'm on a mining lease. Well, it's an illegitimate mining lease. They got this mining lease by taking compulsory acquisition through Anthony Lynham in 2015. And then in 2016, they got a dodgy Indigenous land use agreement signed. So we all, as a group in 2014, all said no. And then Adani decided to fracture the group and they got their Indigenous land use agreement. So fast forward to now, which is 7 years since, that compulsory acquisition was taken, and we're still here. We're still saying no, and we're saying no, you can't have the northern section of this mining lease. So where I am at the moment is basically right smack bang in the middle of the mining lease. I've got signs up all the way along saying no entry. So I've staked my claim, and I'm not giving it back, and I don't plan on giving it back anytime soon. So the position that we have at the moment is there's a mutual agreement between us and the Queensland Police that they leave me alone and I won't cause any ruckus. So, we've been here, 229 days now, and the police have completely thrown up their hands. They would rather work with us than against us. So we live comfortably out there. This is one of the most peaceful places that you can ever come to. So I can only just encourage everybody that, this is a wonderful place to come out to. Don't feel intimidated that like you're going to get arrested. There will be no arrest going on. And this is a family fun event to come along and see nature like you don't get to see it. When you're driving around in the car, you don't really get to see as much as you do as when you're riding on a push bike. So there'll be a few stops along the way. The first stop will be at a creek, and then at the next stop will be at the causeway, and then we'll be stopping at Dalgiudina, the footprint, and then the end of the tour will be at Wangangu. So it goes over 5 days. But Wangangu is the last stop, and I think we'll be having about 2 days there, and there should be some workshops going on and things like that to give a bit of people some education about, our culture and customs and things like that. So all I can do is encourage everyone to come along. If you've come along last year, you know how fun it is. And to the people that haven't come last year, trust me, come along, you'll enjoy yourself, and we will be having so much fun that the people that didn't come will be missing out. So, as I said again, you're all welcome. Everybody is welcome to come to Wangangu. Everybody is welcome to come to the Tour de Carmichael as well. If you want to come earlier to the Tour de Carmichael, you're more than welcome to come to Wangangu and set up your tent first, or caravan, or whatever you would like to bring. If first in, best dressed. So if you pick the best spot, you get the best spot. And I'm hoping to see you all there. Awesome. I think we're going to have some questions a bit later. So I think, is that time? I might chuck it back to Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Cody. That was awesome just to hear all the amazing things you've been up to. We do have now time for questions. So if you want to throw any questions in the chat, and we'll get Farmar to come off mute and ask them to you Cody. So yeah, I can see a couple of questions coming through. Feel free to ask, questions about, like the purpose of the tour, all those big questions. We'll be running through some of the logistical kind of details as well a bit later on. So this is really a chance to ask Cody, about those kind of bigger questions around, fight for country and things like that. So I can see a couple of questions there, and I might, encourage you folks to keep throwing the questions in, and Foma, I might hand over to you just to take us through some of those questions.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Matt. A few of the questions that came earlier on were sort of answered through Cody's little spiel there, but here's a good one. It's a question from Trevor. He asked, Cody, did the Queensland government actually remove native title from your people to get their mining lease?
Yeah, good question. So when the whole group said no in 2014 in Rockhampton, that was supposed to be the end of it. There wasn't supposed to be another ILUA meeting. They weren't supposed to go back to another ILUA. So because we said no, it's pretty much the first time that a group's really done it before. And so out of spite, Anthony Lynham went and took compulsory acquisition for the mining lease. So it's the first time that it's ever happened in Queensland history. And it's the first time that's ever happened for a mining company, because usually a compulsory acquisition is for roads or hospital infrastructure and things like that. So once this compulsory acquisition was taken out, Adani's people went back to our people and said that the government has taken compulsory acquisition over the mining lease. We want these 3 blocks of property, which is for the mining machinery laydown, the airport strip, and the mine village, 3 little blocks of property. And they said, can we have these 3 blocks of property turned into freehold? So our people then said yes on the other side that was working with Adani, and Adani just put the mining lease agreement in with this other Indigenous land use agreement. But it's fraudulent, because that agreement was signed by people that aren't even from our country, and the courts have ruled that they don't come from our country, because our native title got thrown out of court in December at Christmas Eve. It was like, Merry Christmas, you don't have your native title now, because they couldn't prove these other people their connection to country. Now, the man that signed the Indigenous land use agreement, his name was Les Tilley. He got kicked off the claim in 2019 because he come from Bidjara country. So essentially what Adani has done is they've gotten our next door neighbour to sell our house for us. And the government has been complicit in this, and they know that this has happened. So now in last year, at the end of 2021, they threw out our native title. And so now everybody else is left with nothing, but we're the ones still standing, and we're still saying that we come from here, and we're the only recognised people that come from this area now. Everybody else has no recognition. We have a statement of regret signed by the Queensland Police acknowledging us as Wangan and Jagalingou people, and we are aggrieved by Adani's occupation on our tribal lands. So government paperwork or not, native title, that's all aside. We've always said no. Our people have always said no. The real original people from this area, we're the last holders of the language and the culture from this area, so our rights must be protected. So we've gone down this road of human rights for the last 2 years now, and we've managed to cement ourselves in across the road from the mine pit, because the government knows who we are, and they know that they can't dispossess us because they've already acknowledged on who we are. So hopefully that clears a little bit more up. Have I heard any more about my rights? Well, we're kind of caught in a stalemate in regards to who's right, because they still think that they're right, and I still think that I'm right. So unless there's a court case and where Adani takes me to court, there's never going to be any sort of um, moving on of anybody, because nobody can prove how they've acquired the property. So if you go back through time, it's the government has just assumed the title in like 1873 or something like that. So it hasn't been that long out here, and this is what we keep saying is, we're going to continue to fight because this was unjust. Alrighty. Got any more? Next question.
I think a lot of the questions so far are to do with logistics. We'll get to the logistics sections later on in the webinar. But there is a question from Vivian about, how far advanced is the actual mine? It looks huge in the photo.
Yeah, so at the moment, they've been working non-stop around the clock, and it still looks like a square box cut at the moment. So it still only maybe looks like a kilometre long to probably just over a kilometre, maybe a kilometre and a half, if that. So they're still going very, very slowly. They're getting to a point where they've got so much coal piled up now that it's just sitting there because their trains aren't operating at the moment. I haven't seen one coal train go past since being here, and the ones that did go past were the test runs, and the crew of Flack did a mad job of raining on that parade. So they haven't had a really good run. So I don't know where they plan on going. They've just been blowing money like crazy. Like when this floods in, they have to chopper everybody in and out, which costs thousands and thousands of dollars. So, they're just throwing money down the drain. And, I'm hoping that this just collapses in on itself, in the near future. And I'll be the one left standing with a smile on my face.
So good. Let's see. Somebody said, could they chopper our bikes in? Possibly.
The struggle that we tried to get with chopper pilots out here, because they all know each other and they don't want to, because they service all the other mine sites as well, that as soon as I say where they're coming to, they back out straight away. There was a Claremont helicopter company that was flying straight over us, and so I called him up to ask him, just, dude, can you stop flying over us, please? And his reaction was, well, I can fly wherever I want. You're not supposed to be there. So I went on a massive cancel culture, a bit of a tirade, and got people to write some bad reviews on his Google. And my comment is still on his Google reviews. And I'm not taking it down because it's like, well, I sent a warning shot, and, it's people think that, we're just playing around here. Well, we're not really playing around. They're trying to play around with our lives, and our lives revolve around nature and our environment. So they're playing with our lives. So we have a lot more to lose. Yeah.
It's great to hear, all the stories and just, all the little details, goods of like all the different ways you've been standing up for your country, including like, comments and social media and, pushing back on all that, around the chopper pilots. It's been amazing to witness that. And thanks so much for sharing. And answering some of those questions. And thanks, folks. Keep those questions coming in through the chat. It'll be great to see, some of those logistical questions answered a bit later on. I'd love to introduce now Fahima, who's a lead Stop Adani organiser, the Australian Religious Response to Climate Change. She's based on Jagalingou land in Sydney's eastern suburbs, and she's going to give us a little testimony about what it's actually like to be up in Wangan and up on country. So over to you, Fahima.
Thanks, Matt. I was, so just a bit of background about myself. I'm a Muslim person. I grew up in Malaysia and came to Australia in 2007. So I also come from a people who were colonized. So in my work for climate justice, I think a lot about the intersection of race justice and decolonization, which is why I feel that standing in solidarity with Wangan and Jagalingou and other First Nations people is very important. It's at the core of how I approach my organizing. And I traveled to Wadanangu earlier on in the year because I wanted to be at Wadanangu like since day one, since Kudi kind of did that first sort of Facebook post. I was like, yeah, I definitely want to try to get up there. And yeah, I finally made it. I really wanted to be there for Invasion Day, or as Kuts has rebranded it to Reoccupation Day, which I think is really, really cool. And I traveled to WNJ country. I kind of like felt that because I've been working with the Stop Adani campaign, working on banks and corporations in the city, I have this theoretical understanding of what the situation is, but kind of like being there on Kudi's country, it just sort of went from my head to my heart. Everything just felt super real, and I loved meeting sort of the WNJ crew and like everyone else who works so hard to keep the show on the road. And seeing the country, the natural beauty of that area was just unbelievably beautiful. It was such a wonderful experience for me. I remember this moment where I was in the Bora Ring chatting to Kuts about kind of like language, about the Wirdi language, and I saw a truck behind him tipping soil, like, so I'm just sort of like seeing the mind grow in real time while Kudi's talking to me about sovereignty and getting his land back. It was such a mind-blowing contrast, and kind of like, I came back to the city and just felt like shit's real. And we need to do everything we can to stop not only this mine but all the mines. So I feel very determined. That experience has sort of like lifted up my campaigning and my organizing over the last 2 or 3 months. And I'm really excited for the tour because I really want to see the rest of this really, really stunning country and hear the stories and see culture that is still being practiced. It would be a wonderful experience, something that I'm really excited to be a part of. Back to you, Matt, I think.
Thanks, Fahima. And it's such a powerful experience to be up on country. I've been there myself, so thank you for sharing your testimony. I'd now like to introduce Eli to actually go through some of the logistics of the tour. Eli is part of the core tour support team and will be taking us through some of the details of some of the logistics you've been asking about tonight. So over to you, Eli.
Hi everyone. Thanks, Matt. As Matt mentioned, I'm Eli. I'm here with Misha and Shara, who are Cody's sisters. That's them. They're cool. They're going to be out on the tour, so you have plenty of opportunities to meet them in person as well. I've got a lot to get through with this, but I should be covering most of the logistics and hopefully answering a lot of questions that you guys have. But if you have any more questions, please throw them in the chat and we'll have a Q&A after this, and we'll be able to answer any of those extra questions that you have. I believe there's some slides. So to Carmichael, yay. So yes, we're going from May 23rd to May 27th. This is a photo of us from last year, and we all look super happy because we're having a really great time. It was pretty solid. So key details, the tour is hosted on W&J Country. It's in central Queensland. It's about a 13-hour drive north from Brisbane and about 9 hours drive south from Cairns. And I'm sure that you can read the rest of the details that are on there. But as I said, it's from the 23rd to the 27th of May. Yeah, it goes for about 90 kilometers on a public dirt road. So it starts on the corner of the Gregory Highway and it ends at Elgin Moray Road. Sorry, it started at Gregory Highway and the corner of Elgin Moray Road, and it'll finish at the Wangan ceremony, which is just across from Adani's camp. Adani's coal pit, and it's about a kilometer and a half from the camp. So there's a fair few drivers going past as well. The exact arrival time and the meeting place, by the way, it'll be refined during the week before the tour. So please make sure that you register to get those updates. Let's go to what a typical day would look like. It depends on final numbers, transport, and it'll kind of evolve as we go along the tour. But as a general guide, in the morning, we'll all have breakfast together. We'll plan out the day, figure out who wants to ride and who wants to help out in support roles. And just like a general brief on the day's ride. From there, we'll set off at a nice slow pace. It's a super slow ride. It's really cruisy. We'll have plenty of stops that Cody will share a lot of his stories, point out some significant places, and obviously we'll be stopping for lunch as well during the day. Once we leave the site in the morning as well, there'll be some support volunteers as well that are going to help with the pack up of the kitchen and all that sort of stuff, but try to pack up your own tent and all that. Each day we're riding about 20 kilometers. So it's about 3 hours of riding all up, but yeah, heaps of stops along the way. And like I said, it's pretty cruisy. It's a pretty slow ride, but if there's any tricky parts on the road, we can either get off and walk, or we can use the support vehicles to help us. It's a pretty flexible event, and really like what the bush throws to us, we'll have to sort of all navigate around together. As I said as well, there'll be some support vehicles for anyone if you need to tap out at any time, like if the legs are getting a bit sore, there'll be some extra food and some water and everything in those support vehicles as well. Yeah, like I said, flat riding, it's a pretty cruisy ride, and we're going really slow. It's not a race. The aim is to kind of take in all the surrounds that you're seeing around you. And if you're not feeling up to riding, we can be a bit flexible with that too. During the tour, so this is a lot of people. There's a lot of people there, and so we kind of all have to pull together and help out where we can. So if you're cycling, we still need like everyone to be helping with camp duties and everything. As well, if you don't really want to ride, but you kind of want to participate in a way, that's cool. Not everyone has to ride. There's plenty of opportunities for you to help out, whether it's food prepping or helping with the pack up of the camp when the ride starts each day. Yeah, when you register as well, just can you maybe indicate what you like doing, what you're good at, and yeah, we can sort of come up with some good support roles for everyone, make sure every base is covered. Camping spots, so they're all sort of within 30 meters from the road each night. There's heaps of acacia trees around that will keep us nice and sheltered from that sun, especially in the morning. No one likes a hot tent. We'll have a camp kitchen. There'll be water, definitely water. I believe there's a portaloo but I can't 100% confirm that, but we'll definitely have a pit toilet. And there'll also be at a couple of spots, there'll be some nice swimming holes for everyone to cool down at the end of a really hot day. Yeah. There'll be food and drinks, 3 meals a day. That doesn't include snacks. So if you're like me and you get really snacky on a bike ride, bring your snacks. Remember, it's going to be really hot out there, so chocolate will melt in your bag. It will. There's no doubting that. Tea and coffee in the mornings, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Bring a water bottle. Like I said, there'll be water, but you'll need to be able to drink while you're riding. So make sure you bring a water bottle with you. Or a CamelBak. Yeah, CamelBaks are actually super helpful. That's what we had last year. And there's some nice photos, some nice pleasant photos of last year. All right, bicycles. The road that you're riding on, it's pretty flat, but it is a dirt road, and so it can get a bit bumpy. Like I said earlier, the bush kind of decides how things goes. So we'll have to play it by ear with conditions, but it should be some nice sunny weather. We do have to work around as well some of the mining vehicles moving past, but they do not go fast. And like last year, we had a police escort that was making sure that they were keeping their safe distance. A road bike you could bring at your own risk, but a mountain bike or something in between is kind of what's going to be best for that road. If you've got an e-bike, feel free to bring it, but we can't promise any charging for it. There's a Facebook organizing space. Sorry, I should really talk about this because it's important. The Facebook group, the Wangan and Carmichael support group, someone should be able to throw a link to that in the chat. But yeah, it's an organizing space. So if you need help with anything, finding a bike, moving your bikes around, getting a tent, getting transport, whatever it is that you need, throw it into the group, and yeah, everyone can work together to help each other out. If you're still struggling though, get in touch with us and we'll do everything that we can to help. Safety and legalities. As Kudi mentioned, this is a completely lawful event. It's not a protest, which isn't illegal anyway, but some people can kind of feel a bit funny about it and it kind of gets treated like that at times. This is not that. This is a very lawful event. We're riding on public land, we're camping on public land, and Cody will speak with any police or security that come past. Try to not interact with them too much yourself. There'll be, as I said, procedures in place for any vehicles going past, so they can't really run over us or blow too much dust in our face. But if you are worried about it, bring yourself a dust mask and some eye protection. I imagine everyone will have sunnies on anyway. But yeah, if you're really worried, put them in your pack. It's a remote location. The only mobile reception that we really do have at any point is at Wangan. We will have satellite phones with the support crew. So if there's emergencies, we're not completely screwed, but don't rely on your phone to be working for the whole time. Again, yes, remote location, so be aware of your own safety. There are things like snakes and spiders and all that out there. So yeah, just be aware of those. We do have some first aid volunteers as well. We'll have a first aid team, but also if first aid is your thing, put that in your registration form, put it in there, because you know, you can never have too many first aid officers. Things to bring. We've got a pretty comprehensive list on the website, but basically bring your own camping gear, bring a chair, your own cutlery and crockery. So that's a plate, a bowl, knife, fork, spoon. If you're bringing your car or your camper van or a caravan, you're welcome to do so, but it's up to you to be able to move that between the sites. So if you're riding, it's going to be hard to move a caravan with your bicycle. Yes, bring your bicycle. If you can, bring a repair kit. Helmets are mandatory. If you don't have a helmet, you can't ride. Shoes, bring some comfy shoes and like a couple of clean shirts and everything for each day. Just keep yourself comfortable. I found last year that Misha and I brought gloves with us that we used while we were riding, because that really helped. Otherwise you can get a bit blistered after a few days. And if you can, bring something soft for your butt. It's after 3 days of riding, that bike kind of becomes part of you. And if you can't bring something soft for your butt, bring some Bepanthen or something, maybe some baby powder, I don't know. But yeah, if you can get like a seat cover for your bike or just some padded shorts or something like that, you will not regret that. Make sure that you keep yourself protected from the sun. If you need sunscreen, use it. Just use the damn sunscreen, because it's 3 days out in the sun and it's a different kind of sun out there. Yeah, it's a different kind of sun out there. It might be starting get a little bit cold at night, and after you've been in the sun all day, especially if you have gotten a little bit of light burn, you're going to start feeling kind of cold at night. So do make sure that you bring something warm to wear at night as well. And if you feel like swimming, bathers, or just swim in your underwear. Last here, we have children. If you feel like bringing your children, go ahead and do that. Children are absolutely welcome. We had a couple of kids last year. They had a great time. Just remember that your kids are your responsibility and keep an eye on them. Like I said, it's the bush. There's things like snakes and spiders and sharp sticks. Yeah, bring your kids, be aware of the environment that they're in, and you're all gonna have a great time. What not to bring? If you've got an assistance dog, bring it along, go for it. If you don't have an assistance dog, but you want to bring your dog, same rule as the kids. Same rule as kids. Yeah, they have to be on a leash the whole time as well. You're in a natural environment out there, and dogs are a pest, essentially, out there. They can do some damage to the native wildlife. So you really need to be taking care of your dog and keeping an eye on them if you do decide to bring them, but try to leave them at home. Try not to bring any alcohol, illegal drugs, generators. Generators are super loud, and yeah, you don't really need them. I think alcohol and illicit drugs kind of speak for themselves. I noticed someone said a hat under their helmet. I did that last year. Looks dorky, exactly, but very good. I didn't actually get burnt last year. It was great because I wore my hat the whole time. Anyway, I digress. Getting there, so you can arrive at Wangan up until Sunday, 22nd of May. So try and get there either then or before then, and arrive at a decent time so that we can organize for everyone to get from Wangan to the start of the tour, which is 90 kilometers in the opposite direction. Or alternatively, you can just head straight to the start of the tour on the Monday morning. And as I said earlier, this exact time and exact place may change. So make sure you're registered so you can get those updates. Yeah, and if you're not driving the entire way and you decide to sort of fly part of it, Emerald and Mackay, the closest airports. There's also Townsville as well, I believe, is close. But like most of the organizing, if you need to car share and stuff like that, go ahead and just speak with everyone on that Facebook group that I mentioned earlier. Cool, yeah, and we finish up on Mungu, and now we're up to getting home. So officially the tour finishes on Friday, the 27th of May. The exact finish time will sort of work out as we go, but try and plan your travel so that you can stay the full day and maybe leave the next day. But you're welcome to stay as long as you want to at Wangan. It's open for everyone. Do you have to come for all 5 days? We prefer that you do. Like, if you really don't want to, I'm sure that you can organize a way for you to not have to, but for you to really take in the full experience and everything. And also for organizing transport, it's really great to stay the whole 5 days so that you can really take that all in. But if there is any sort of emergency as well along the way, like I said, there are satellite phones, and we do have transport, and we will do anything that we can to help anyone in an emergency situation. Costings. If you're not registered, this might be new information. If you're registered, you already know this. But First Nations and for people that request it, your tickets are free. If you're waged, so if you're working, you've got a bit of money behind you, $250 and $100 if you're not waged. You can also pay it forward, which is $100, and that just sort of is like a nice gesture for someone else to be able to come say those people that need to request for the free entry. There are also refunds available, but this cost is covering basically like your food and all the logistical expenses that it takes to run a bicycle tour of this size. If you do need any support with this, if money is a bit of an issue for you to try and get out there, again, get in touch with us. We're doing everything that we can to support everyone, and we just want everyone to be able to experience this. That's all. Thanks.
Well, sorry, just trying to find the unmute button there.
Sorry,
that was awesome, Eli.
I finished really like without a conclusion, but that's a quick rapid fire of all the questions, and back to you, Matt. That's back to you.
Awesome. That was amazing. Yeah, so I think we were going to get some questions maybe from the floor, but I think that was a pretty comprehensive wrap. So we might ask people to, if you have major questions, to maybe email them to our teams, and we'll answer them as we go. So we'll kind of talk you through that that process in a moment of the follow-up, and then we'll be able to get back to your detailed questions through email. So we've got a chance now to kind of check who's excited and who's keen to get involved. And I know I am. I know I'm going to be going along to the tour. And we're also really keen to take a group photo to kind of show how many people are interested, to really build that buzz. So we're going to do that now. And I'd love to kind of get a sense from you all in the audience tonight, whether you're keen to go, and whether you can just kind of put your hands up if you're going along. So, I'll demonstrate I'm going. So I'm going to put my hands up, really pumped up. So if you can put your hands up and keep them up, we're going to take a quick photo in your smiling faces. If you can't make it along, don't worry. We'd love to just see your smiling face anyway, and we'll grab a quick photo so we can show this to the world and keep pumping up the tour. Got double hands. Excellent. Can see smiling faces. This is awesome. So many people here who are coming along from the looks of it, which is great. I'm going to have to scroll along. There's so many people coming. Awesome. 2 fingers up, 3 fingers. Yeah, whole hands. Fantastic. Thumbs up. Good stuff. Loving it. This looks like we're going to get a really good turnout. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to get a signal soon when they're finished doing this. So keep them up. Pump them up, folks. Pump them up. That's it. We'll get a little shout out soon from our photographer, our wonderful photographer. I know I just put my hands down, but I'm actually trying to scroll across to see all your wonderful
Okay, I think I got everyone, Matt.
Excellent. Thanks, Lisa. Okay, great stuff, folks. So now I'm going to talk you through, we're going to come to a wrap up pretty soon, but I'm going to talk you through how to actually express your interest to coming along. So what are the kind of key next steps, and how do you actually sign up to get involved? So I guess the first thing I really want to talk you through is that there is a Facebook group for carpooling and coordinating the carpooling. So that's going to come through in the chat. If you're coming along, I'd ask you to just quickly join that Facebook group, or at least try and save that link. Just open it up right now so you can join it after the call. So that's a really good place for you to actually coordinate your transport and to get involved with other people to actually make sure you can get there. We're also going to shove in the chat. It's a bit of a strange thing to say, but we're going to put into the chat the expression of interest form, and that's what we want you to sign up to tonight. So that's how you'll be able to express your interest in coming along. It's not a registration form, so you still have to register for the tour. So I really want to make that clear. So registration and all the information that we've covered in tonight is on the website, which we'll email to you after this webinar. So take your time to read through all the details. And when you know you're in, register your travel on the Eventbrite page. So the expression of interest form is different. We want you to fill that out tonight, but we want you to register through the Eventbrite page. So registration's closed at 6 p.m. on the 15th of May. And we'll, so please make sure you register by then. Please register as soon as you know you're coming. It really helps us to plan for food and transport and identify sooner what people are needed at the tour and what, just helps with the planning in general. So don't wait to fill your car or sort your bikes out. As soon as you know you're coming, register and answer the questions about your travel as best you can. And if your travel details change, you can always email us and we'll update your registration. The only exception to that is if you're flying. So it's important you ensure you have self-organized and a pick-up and drop-off lift from the airport that you're flying into. Okay, so that's why that Facebook coordination group is really important. So right now we're going to put in the expression of interest form in the chat, and we're really keen for you all to fill it out. So please fill it in. Fill it in as best you can. We'll give you a couple of minutes. I'm not very good at singing and I won't put on any music because I don't have any prepared, but I'm sure I can keep you company for a couple of minutes whilst we're filling this out. We also want to stress that we don't want cost to be a barrier to this tour. So please fill out the form and let us know if you can come along and if you're interested. And let us know if you can't pay for it, because we will try to find ways to support you. And we'll help you out with a free ticket if you need. So we really just want you to come along, let us know if cost is a barrier, and we'll sort it out for you later on. So keen to get you all to fill out the expression of interest form, and just do that now. So we'll give you like a minute or two. You can see it in the chat there. So just open that form up into a web browser, and take your time just to go through it all, and maybe even just give us a thumbs up when you've kind of finished up, or write in the chat that you've kind of done it. We'll keep posting that form in there. As Farmar said, there was some it was a really powerful experience for her to go along. I certainly know it was a really meaningful. Every time I go up to country there, it's just a really meaningful experience for me. So really would encourage as many of you to come along as possible. I'd say it's probably one of the best things I've ever done. So yeah, I mean, and I'm not exaggerating. So it's really, really worthwhile coming along. So I guess wondering how we're going. Fun fact, Faramar, there will be a lot of legends along there. Every time I hang out with Hoods, I feel like I'm hanging out with like a celebrity. So, going to be, like we'll be talking about, we won't be talking about Cody, but other people will be talking about Cody in about 200 years time, I reckon. So like he's a bit of a legend and a warrior for his people, as is Misha, and all the family. So big shout outs. There we go. Cool. All right. How are we going? Can we get a bit of a thumbs up so I can get a bit of a gauge from folks here? Yep. Sue, you've done it. Great. Excellent. How are we going? Jody, you've done the expression of interest form. Fantastic. Good stuff. Cool. We've got a few more thumbs up. All right. Might give you just another minute, folks, and then we'll kind of talk about some key next steps. As I said, some of the questions, you might have, come after the call. You might think about things as you're doing the registration. Please just shoot us an email at any time and we'll answer those questions for you. So we're really keen to help you out as much as possible to get get along. And all right, well, we might move to our final wrap up and just kind of talk you through what to expect after tonight. So I guess some of you may not be able to come along as much as you might like to. Other ways you can help is to spread the word. We need as many people to invite as many people as possible. The more we can spread the word, the more we're going to give people that sense of FOMO that Kuds talked about earlier, and that'll get people up there. And so the promo pack will be emailed to you with the content from tonight and an email, text and social media post that you can actually post up to your local groups if you're involved in any. We'll also organise, you could organise a group to come from your area. You could keep going on Facebook to the event, so it keeps that, that tracking and that reach for the event. And you can also donate to support others to attend the event to help with, some of those free tickets we talked about, or also the W&J Legal fundraiser. So that's really important as well. So we'd just like to thank everyone for coming along. Big shout out to Kuds, Misha, Eli, Faima, Lisa, and all the team behind the scenes that have helped to put tonight together. Please keep an eye out for the follow-up email, and we'll include the links about tonight. And thanks so much for your support and solidarity for Wangan and Jagalingou people. It's important we keep up this fight for justice. So yeah, please, big round of applause for you all coming along, and keep an eye out for that follow-up email with the expression of interest and all the other links. It's been great to see you, and we'll call it a night there. Thanks, folks. See you soon. See you on the tour.